Hello everybody, Accureye here, and welcome back to another Accureye Talks video. So, in today's Talks video, I am talking about the reason why, at least for the most part, Capcom actually, and Capcom or Street Fighter actually does work, and it functions actually, it overall has functioned pretty well and kept its audience, and some of the small reasons why it's kind of kept its audience overall. One of the main reasons that Street Fighter overall has kept its audience and its base is because it actually works and functions pretty well. Even though I do get frustrated on online matches, there's never a time on Capcom's end where I felt like, Street Fighter was just bad because of a character or because of what they were, what the changes were made. Like, for instance, as far as, if you don't know, Capcom has a basic way of making it to where every fighter in their game, every character in the game serves a core function. And because it serves that core function, they don't want to break that core function and make it to where they change the game so much to where, for instance, all of a sudden, the core function of that character is no longer in effect. And, I mean, that's something that we don't see very often. For instance, going back to Soul Calibur, which we've talked about a little bit. The core functions of Soul Calibur, it feels like whenever there is a change, they drastically change the feature or function of that character. And it's not like, okay, let's make a slight adjustment and try not to break the character to where now it's like, oh, okay, this character is now broken. And apparently I had some issues with capture of this video, so if there is any issues with the video or you're seeing freeze ups like I'm seeing right now, I do apologize, but anyway, as it stands, it feels like the character functions, like for instance in Street Fighter, don't have a broken function. Like, they keep the same to their core. For instance, like Sakura, while she's gotten a buff recently, she still keeps her core functions of being fairly medium to like fast / kind of medium power, medium okayness on being overall for characters. Like, she's fairly balanced to stay tactical or, to try and stay speedy, because obviously, Sakura doesn't have that much power when it comes down to the general playstyle of her. But I mean, you look at someone like Ryu, who's like pretty powerful. It's like, yeah, they probably nerfed him a few times. I forgot if the last patch notes were a nerf or a buff, but the core function of Ryu being very powerful is still there. Same goes with like people like Minot. People like like Zangief. All of those characters are very, very overpowered. And, when Capcom does decide to nerf, for instance, Zangief, or buff, for instance, Zangief, it still keeps the core function of them being very powerful. It's just, now they do less damage. Meaning that you now have to kind of consider, okay, I'm going to do less damage now on these grabs. How am I going to counterbalance what needs to be done? Because again, like as you've seen, counterbalancing is always a good way to of course, counterbalancing is a good way to, of course, make it to where you can kind of go, okay, the core functions still work, and the core of what he does is still good. It's just a matter of now doing the finer details to get it to where it's basically perfection on the character end. And it's basically to a point where at least many people are somewhat pleased with the results. And with that being said, it's kind of that function of, keeping the core functions alive, keeping the core functions going. Because main fighting games outside of in Namco Bandai, at least through Soul Calibur, it's kind of like the characters stay very unbalanced, and unless there are like millions, if not thousands, hundreds and millions and thousands, 100,000 or so people complaining about someone like Nightmare being too overpowered, it's kind of like Namco doesn't really realize, and they're kind of just like, oh well, if not this many people complained about it, then we don't have to worry about it, right? I mean, and that seems to be the natural cause, the natural, if you will,
Final round.
of it actually working. So, naturally, that is just a natural cause, a natural way of, having it to where, for Namco, it's kind of like, unless there are hundreds and thousands of people, complaining about it, and because we're not doing tournament ready, because we're not trying to make Soul Calibur tournament ready, and by the way, Soul Calibur isn't tournament ready, it's kind of like, we don't have to worry about balancing out characters, we don't have to worry about having characters to where, at least it's an equal playing field for most, characters or people, and that's kind of the thing. And again, like I said, I do apologize that we're having no full-on video or anything like that, but anyway. So anyway, yeah, but overall, that's the one thing that I see, and I'm forcing with of course, Street Fighter, is that, it has the same core functions. While there's some issues like, for instance, lag, or, even, for instance, possible lag switching, or people who have rapid clicking buttons or rapid pushing buttons, then, obviously it's going to be the, it's going to be where it's kind of a talk of the town, if you will. But, at the end of the day, if you're not, completing the basic core functions or anything, you're not, like, making it to where, okay, Nightmare is too powerful on this blast, let's lower the blast down, that way it feels a little more like, okay, Nightmare now has to do a risk/reward move. It's like, does he risk, for instance, doing something like, for instance, Akuma, if there was a way to cancel it out, it's kind of like, does Akuma risk using, Dark Akuma or Akuma with a chair and then knocking him out like the way he did? Or is it that after having so many years in that one place, it's kind of like, in many ways the dragon became the part of the Guardians that were helping these people or whatever. But anyway, with that being said, thank you everybody for joining me today on this video. And yeah. And yeah, with that being said, thank you everyone for joining me on this video. If you like this video, you know what to do. Hit the like button, get subscribed, hit the bell notification, because I know you want to know when my next video drops next. Thank you everybody for joining me today on this video. I am live on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/Accureye. And, yeah, I'm live on Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday for about 4 to 5 hours, usually on those days. But I am currently trying to make a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, and potentially Sunday. Sunday will always be a bonus stream, stream schedule. But with that being said, Monday, Tuesday, and potentially Sunday, I am live for about 2 to 3 hours. But thank you everybody for joining me today on this video. And, yeah, until the next one, everybody, this is Accureye, signing out and saying, farewell, everyone.